Okay, that probably gives us enough time. Let me kind of jump into things. And just for anyone that's just joined, there should be a Q&A and a live chat along the top. Please do feel free to use those to fire any questions my way. There is no such thing as a stupid question here. This is a safe space. And like I said, I'm going to fly through a few PowerPoint slides, then we'll jump into the system. So let me take my face for radio off the screen, save us all a headache, and I'll fly through this short PowerPoint now. So in regards to this webinar, this is around discovering that CRM that really will complete your Unleashed workflow. And this will kind of detail some bits and pieces. Thanks for joining today's webinar. There is an extremely old photo of myself, probably about 6-7 years ago now. Maybe we should get it updated. Maybe it's not so important. But yeah, I've been working at Prospect for almost 8 years now. And I've also worked with Unleashed customers for about 8 years too. So very familiar territory for myself, for us as a business, which is just nice for you all to know. Hence the reason, Prospect is the perfect match for Unleashed, and why Prospect CRM feels more like an extension to Unleashed than an add-on, because the integration is so tight. I will explore a little bit of that today. So real businesses and real B2B sales growth. So I suppose a little bit of context just before explaining this side to you all. 100% of the businesses that use Prospect CRM sell physical products to other businesses. So we're kind of extremely specialized as a tool, hence why a lot of what we run through today will probably land quite nicely with you all. And of course, a lot of our customers do service elements and also do B2C sales, but in some way, shape, or form, they all sell physical products to businesses. And here's one of our customers who I worked with or began working with quite some time ago, and they've been using Prospect CRM for quite some time themselves now, of course, too. And that's kind of good culture kombucha here. And a quote from their CEO, Dennis Kelleher, I should say. Since we started using Prospect CRM in the last 12 months, our sales have doubled, which might sound like quite an extreme example, but actually is kind of what goes on with all of our new Unleashed customers. And you'll kind of get a flavor for today for how probable those sort of statistics are. Beyond the basics, how Prospect CRM stacks up against other CRMs within the market. So this is always a pretty interesting one. Maybe some of you attendees today use one of these CRMs, but this will explain quite nicely just what we're doing a bit differently. So here's some other CRMs here, Salesforce, Pipedrive, and HubSpot, and a breakdown of their customer bases, who they're selling to, right? And all of their industries are pretty similar. They all primarily work with other software companies, information and tech services, and advertisement agencies. They're the top three markets for all of those CRM products. And that's no major coincidence or surprise. That is because those are the markets which are the most proactive in buying CRM. So if you're a CRM company, you're probably going to focus there. But our customers are very different. Like I've alluded to already, they all sell physical products to other businesses. And they are certainly less proactive in buying CRM. That would be a fair comment. But we do really well in our market in terms of our close rates and our customer success. And that's because our customers just require very different functionality. But to put some statistics behind that whole concept, notion, idea, and there's kind of three key points to that statement as to why we do so well in our market. And first of all, because Prospect integrates much better with Unleashed than any of these CRMs could even dream of doing, candidly. So that's a really key point, of course. But then the two other kind of elements of why Prospect does such a good job for Unleashed customers is because Unleashed customers sell very differently to how all of these businesses sell. And there's kind of two key points to that sales equation. All of these industries, first of all, do kind of project-based work or kind of one-time selling. So there's not a whole lot of repeat business going on in any of these industries, and thus none of these CRMs really look at it. But repeat business and customer retention is crucial to all of our customers. So that's an area of sales that we'll hone in on quite a big way and assist with. The second point to the kind of sales equation would be just using our common sense, all of these industries pretty much sell one product or service. Our customers tend to sell tens, hundreds, sometimes thousands of SKUs. So we'll also really address kind of cross-sell opportunity and identify what our customers are not buying, which potentially they could be. And I'll of course elaborate as to how the system looks after all of that today. There's a few of our reviews in various app marketplaces and some awards we've achieved. We don't do too badly, to say the least. And in regards to the growth formula and the growth model, kind of almost feeding into what I was mentioning before, every CRM will promise you more customers. But what we're doing differently to the rest is we're really looking to maximize your customer lifetime value. So we want to make sure that you get the most out of each and every customer for as long as you possibly can. And of course, if you're doing both of those things, you should achieve a decent level of sales growth and business growth, which is always the aim to a degree. In terms of breaking that down a little bit for you, so more customers is all about attract, sell, and close. And that's kind of where most CRMs stop in terms of really helping you service and sell to your customers again and again and again. What we're looking to do differently to the rest is we really want to make sure that you onboard your customers and then maximizing their lifetime value logically is just about bringing them through this flywheel. So maximizing customer retention, increasing order value where we can, and of course, maximizing how often our customers are buying. And we break that down this kind of growth playbook here, which is almost a plan of action of how you could use Prospect to grow your business. And we kind of split it out into those different areas, as you can see. So if you were looking to improve customer retention, all of these will really help you do that. If you're looking to increase how often your customers are buying, then these tools will be a big win, and kind of so on and so forth. And hopefully we can piece all of this together and really drive growth. I've said the word growth a couple of times now. It's an easy word to chuck in there, right? But to put some statistics behind that conversation and behind that statement, all of the Prospect customers the Unleashed customers, I should say, that took on Prospect in 2023, saw their turnover on average increase by 38% in 2024, which is great testament to the system, great testament to our onboarding team getting all of these customers up to speed and so successful with the system right away. But it's very much due to the fact that we are working with such a particular type of business. The system is specialized for Unleashed customers. We're not trying to square peg, round hole anything here. And again, you'll kind of see some features in a moment, which will, I'm sure, be music to your ears. In and around that kind of sense of customer retention and making sure our customers keep buying from us, one of the tools which our customers get really excited by in that regard is the RFM model. It really assists with that. And to contextualize RFM for you, it's actually a repeat business model which came from Harvard Business School. We've just brought it to the software world and the modern day world, I suppose, because all our customers do repeat business, repeat selling. So this is rather valuable to them. But what RFM stands for is recency, frequency, monetary value. So looking at how recently your customers have bought, how frequently they buy from you, and the money they spend per order. Your customers are placed into these different segments: champions, loyals, right the way down to customers who are at risk, you can't lose, or are hibernating. And speaking from experience, having worked with Unleashed customers for 8 years now myself, what a lot of businesses are doing prior to our system is trying to rely on that light bulb moment of, we haven't spoke to Joe Bloggs in a couple of weeks, we should probably get in touch. But getting that perfect off the top of your head is idealistic rather than realistic. So what the system is doing is it's flagging up those scenarios of at-risk customers, let's say, who spent big money, purchased often from you, but haven't purchased in a long time. So you can then be proactive from a marketing or a sales perspective to reignite those accounts, which could be really valuable to us, but Prospect is flagging up the fact that we are maybe about to lose them if we haven't done that already. In terms of how the integration works, you'll get a better understanding of this in more detail once we jump into a Unleashed integrated Prospect system. But as a high-level overview of kind of how it works, Prospect brings through everything, essentially. So the currencies and tax and warehouses against your customers, of course, it brings through your customers. alongside suppliers. Customers is businesses, contacts, delivery addresses, and so on. Products and inventory levels will come through, as will, of course, all the sales encompassing all of these areas. And in terms of what Prospect can push into Unleashed, Prospect will provide you with sales analysis. You can also create orders and new customer accounts into Unleashed via Prospect CRM, and even create new products from Prospect into Unleashed, should you wish to do so. But let's take a look at it in action and jump into a Unleashed integrated Prospect system here. And here we are. So if any of you took out a demonstration with Unleashed at some point, I'm sure most of you have done, you might be quite familiar with Jan. And the company we're looking at today is called That's My Jan. Of course, a completely fictitious company with fake data behind it. But in terms of this dashboard right away, a lot of this data is very much driven from Unleashed. So as soon as you connect your Unleashed system to your Prospect CRM trial system, all of this data is populated. And we can see how much we've brought in this month versus last month, where our customers land within the RFM model. Our customers who should have ordered by now, which the missing orders report tells us. Our customers growing in spend versus declining in spend. And all of our customers that we haven't spoke to in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever that looks like for your business. And a lot of customers of Unleashed have an account manager structure internally, i.e. Amber looks after a certain number of customers, as does Greg. And we'll bring all of those through. And then what that enables you to do is you could look at Amber's dashboard. And now Amber has a completely compromised view to just give her customers. A slightly more tunnel visioned approach, if you will. So Amber can begin to focus on the customers she needs to focus on. But all of this insight is very much kind of pushing and pulling me in the correct direction as to where I need to focus. In terms of looking at the RFM model, because I've explained it recently, let's dive into it. And these are our customers who are at risk. And you get some pretty powerful data points straight away. So we can see when their first order was, when their last order was, the number of orders they've placed in total, and even their average order size, which Prospect CRM will calculate for you. These customers are at risk because they haven't ordered since at least October last year. So I guess around 9 months. Now, for everyone's benefit on the call or watching this back in recording, the at-risk segment does not look at businesses that haven't bought in 9 months. That's not how it works necessarily. The system will compare your customers to your customers, and your at-risk segment might be people that haven't bought in 3 months or 4 months or 5 months and so on. And the system will also move with your business. The RFM model will move with your business. So quite often what we see is when Unleashed customers adopt Prospect CRM, within that first 3-month period, their at-risk segment might move from customers that haven't bought in 6 months down to 3, because they now have far more digestible data, actionable data. So they are servicing their customers and selling to them in a much better fashion, just for everyone to kind of benefit on how it's working. And then, of course, unsurprisingly, the champion customers are going to look pretty different. You know, they've all ordered in the last couple of weeks or so. They've placed a larger number of orders, and they probably have a slightly bigger average order size. But as soon as you connect your Unleashed system to a Prospect trial, this will all make perfect sense to your business. And likewise, you can jump on a demonstration with someone like myself to go through this in a little bit more detail, and we can kind of study it together. Or if you're lucky, you'll get one of my colleagues who are all much better than me. In regards to some other kind of dashboard tiles, as we're here, these are all of our customers increasing their spend in the last 365 days compared to the previous. You can see what they spent in the last 365 days and what they spent in the previous. Mary Berry is obviously getting paid extremely well by the BBC because, or maybe her retirement bonus was pretty large. She has hung up the boots per se, but 100 million on Jam in the last 365 days is a pretty healthy amount, isn't it? So some of the data in this system is a little bit wild, but you know, for the sake of what we're looking at, it's okay. And then likewise, as much as there is growing customers, which is always nice for the ego, you can also look at declining customers. And maybe, this is where you would prioritize some time to try and get these accounts back to where they once were. In regards to missing orders, this is, candidly one of the reports people get quite excited by. I've had a few, whoops and gasps and claps of a round of applauses when opening up this feature. It is a big win for kind of obvious reasons, which kind of makes perfect sense straight away. So what Prospect will do is it will calculate and provide you with your customers' average days between orders, and thus show you all your customers that have broken their regular buying habit with your business. So if we take the example of Joe Public, they've just about broken a regular buying pattern with us. They were buying from us every 29 days on average, particularly strange for them not to buy in 47 days. And now they've not bought in 49. This is a customer that therefore should have ordered by now. We'll also give you their average order size, I guess, so you have a bit of an expectancy in terms of what to look for in an order from them when when we hopefully do manage to have them buy from us again. But if we go into Joe Public, you'll be presented with the message, this customer should have ordered by now, even if you stumble across them in the system, rather than going into them by that report. And then if we go ahead and click on the details button alongside this message, it takes us to their sales analysis screen. And this customer ordered in late April. They ordered twice in March. There's 2 orders on the same day. And they also ordered once in February and once in January. So from January through to late April, they ordered from us every single month without fail and actually placed 2 orders in March. Hence why the system is suggesting they should have bought by now. These bars are essentially different orders, dates and values attached. And if you click see more, then you could see all of the orders, dates and values attached. So you don't necessarily need to be Carol Vorderman in this scenario to figure out, they should have bought by now. This is their fluctuations in spend each month. And on this screen, we'll also show you what their top products are by value. I know Unleashed customers quite like this too, speaking from experience. Unleashed being an inventory management system and, a fantastic system in its own right, it isn't built to give you this kind of digestible sales data, which a CRM tool like Prospect is there to do. So you can see where most of their money goes by the SKU. And what you can also see is a magic matrix breakdown of what they buy from you and what they don't. So these are essentially our product categories from Unleashed, and we can see what people are buying and what they're not buying. And obviously this is feeding into that notion of cross-selling and upselling to our customers. And this is the magic matrix for Joe Public specifically. But what you could also decide to do is look at the magic matrix across all your business. So what we've got here is our customers on the left-hand side, and we've got our product categories along the top. And obviously the green dots are signaling that they've bought those products, and the red dots mean they haven't bought the products. But there's also 2 other color dots to address here: aware and opportunity. So if they haven't bought a product, we could be currently working on a sale in relation to that product with them. So we're working on a sale here in relation to finished jam with 123 North Street. So I click on that blue dot, I can see we've currently got an opportunity that we're working on with them, which is at the moment qualified. So we'll tell you if you're working on a sale, and they could also be aware of a product, which means one of 2 things. We perhaps have had a conversation with them about jam accessories, and thus they are aware of it because we manually mark them to be aware. Alternatively, and in this particular scenario, you can see we've actually sent 3 email marketing campaigns on jam accessories to this customer, hence why they're aware. So you could actually build a campaign straight from here and target all of the people that haven't bought a particular product from you and run a campaign to them. So not only will we show you what they've bought and not bought, but we'll also show you where they are within that journey of maybe buying a product from you. And naturally, all of this is looking to sell more products to them. And what will that mean for us as a business? That will mean their order value will probably increase naturally. Their order frequency is likely to increase as well because they're buying more types of products from us. And with all of these reports, the RFM model, the missing orders, and the magic matrix, we're just generally trying to increase customer stickiness, their dependence on us as a business. And that's certainly the results people see. So yeah, some pretty powerful insight tools, a lot of ROI offered, as is the case for all Unleashed customers with Prospect, to be candid. But again, just for all of you, I'm sure you've all digested that just fine. I'm sure you're all very capable, but if anyone does have any kind of specific questions, please feel free to use the Q&A or the live chat, which should be accessible within this webinar. And like I say, I'll circle back to those later on. In regards to jumping into what I would describe to be some slightly more standard CRM practice, I'm going to go to a guy in the system I know pretty well, which is me. We've got Tony Egan here, who works at the Access Group. Just going to find my record here. And if we come down here, we can see I actually had a task due with myself, or due with Tony, on the 11th of June, so a few days ago, 6 days ago to be precise. Now I'll mark that as complete, as we'll just kind of envisage I did this. And for the sake of not ending up in some sort of inception confusion, this is a potential customer called Tony, who works at the Access Group. So we're trying to sell to Tony here. And in Tony's record, what we can see is we've got, I've just completed that task. You can also see there's some email communication and there's some other tasks there. So you'll see all the users that are working with this client, and you'll kind of see all of the notes and history about what the story is and what's going on. And we could write some notes and chuck it on the timeline. It just works like social media, to be candid with you. So I won't demonstrate that necessarily. Instead, what I'll do is I'll add a task that requires a little bit more demonstration and an explanation for sure. So I'm going to write a task of send email. I'm going to leave the task on for me. I'm setting the task for myself, and the task is going to be for today. And I'll write a little bit of a story of what's going on. So I'll say, spoke to Tone on the phone. He's keen to buy some jam from us, but would like an email to return to, as he is a little tied up right now. So I will set myself that task for today. And then a few things are going to happen. So first of all, everyone can see Tony set himself the task for today, and they can see what I'm getting up to. That then appears in my task list in the top right-hand corner. And if you assign a colleague a task, they'll be notified via email immediately too. And then, of course, you can log into the system on any given day. You can go to your task in the top right-hand corner. Sadly, I've got 224 overdue tasks. But my task on today is with Tone here. So I'll go into this record and I can see, right, okay, I need to send Tony an email. So to do that, I'll just select Tone's email on the right-hand side. I'll select my email template and I'll press send. Job done. We'll actually help you configure as many email templates as you wish. The onboarding process with Prospect is all included with the software. So, we'll help you migrate from your current CRM potentially. We'll help you configure the system, train all of the team. That's all included. And as part of the configuration, we can help you configure some email templates for sure. In terms of how the templates operate, they use merge fields, of course. So it's taken Tony's first name. It's also taken his business name. Your business name could be included in here as well. And there's also terms and conditions pre-attached as an attachment, but I could remove it as well. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and press send. Email's been sent. Happy days. The email also lands in the activity log, so I know exactly where I was at when I come back to this in a week's time. Likewise, all of my colleagues know what I'm up to. And we'll also track emails sent from the system too. So if Tony was to open this email, click on links in this email, that would all appear here as well. And once you've done a little bit of task management and email communication, you might be ready to create an order for Tony here. So you can either create a quote or a sales order. Now, apologies for stating the obvious, but if you've agreed a sales order with someone and you're just looking to stick it into Unleashed, go for a sales order. If you need to send that person a quote, which they're ultimately going to say yes or no to, go for a quote. Simple as that. So let's go ahead and give this quote a title. I'll call it a June stock order. Keep it pretty simple. I'll assign a salesperson to this and we'll go for Amber. The warehouse for this is coming through from Unleashed, as will all of your price tiers. We'll go ahead and open up this quotation. Now, Tony Egan, for what it's worth, and the Access Group, they're a potential customer. So in Prospect, your potential customers would live here alongside your customers, of course, which is always being imported from Unleashed. And we'll only push the account into Unleashed if and when they buy from you. So in terms of what would happen with customers and you building this sales order / quotation, the top 5 products for that customer would come up first. So we'll go for some chili jam here. You can, of course, see the price coming through from Unleashed as the stock levels do as well. So we'll go for some chili jam. Now, the top 5 products isn't always going to suffice. So you could also open up a search. And you could search for products by their name, by their SKU. Of course. So we could search for brown and we'll find our brownie. But a couple of screens that Unleashed customers really tend to love, again, just because it's a much nicer way of building an order from a customer-facing role. You can look at recent purchases, and that will literally show you the customer's recent orders, including the order date and the recent price that they paid. Particularly useful in those scenarios of someone just wanting to know what they got last week or last month. And finally, you have the popular screen, which is, the most popular products for that customer in descending order. So you can literally be in person with a customer or on the phone and say, right, these are your top products that you buy from us most often. You want 4 of those, 5 of those, and click add and close. This system figured with some upsell links. I'll ignore that screen for now. It's a bit of a detailed explanation, but we could dig into that with anyone that wants a more thorough demo sometime as well. So now you've built a bit of an order. If the customer agreed to this order and you did not need to send a quote, this was more of a sales order. You just need to push it into Unleashed by pressing confirm. And it will go into their Unleashed account as a parked order. Or, whichever Unleashed status you actually decide, you can choose how it goes in. If they're a potential customer, you can go ahead and create their account in Unleashed and process their first order all in one go. Kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So the account goes into Unleashed alongside their first ever order. We've converted a potential customer into a customer. And that's a sales order, really. It's as simple as that. To send a quotation, you could just go ahead and select Tony's email on the right-hand side and select the quotation here. Your quote's already there as a PDF. So select your template, press send, and move on. For the sake of the demonstration and the webinar, I'll download this. But in real time, you'd never need to download it. You just press send and you move on. Now, let me go ahead and grab a quote document I built slightly earlier today. And in regards to this quotation document, we can customize this and have it looking however you'd like it to look. If you guys are already obsessed with your current quote document in Unleashed, just give it to us. We'll add it to your system. That's all included, within the onboarding process, which just comes with our system. Obsessed is probably quite a strong word. Maybe you just enjoy your quote document. We'll get it added to here. In regards to how it operates from a functionality point of view, pretty standard stuff. The date comes through, the customer's details come through, the order table comes through that you built in the system. This is what I would describe to be a pretty primitive quote table. You could also include product images, extended descriptions, that's all fine. And what the customer can do, which is pretty cool, is they can just click approve on the order themselves. If you decide to use these buttons, you don't have to. But the customer can press approve. Your company logo will appear at the top here, and this whole kind of screen becomes on brand, and then the customer can input a PO and click approve. If that was to happen, you get an email as the salesperson saying, "Hi Tony, Tony at the Access Group has gone ahead and confirmed order 1021, and we've pushed it through to Unleashed for you." That would all be automated from there. Quite a nice customer buying experience. Also takes work off salespeople's hands because they don't have to retrospectively confirm quotes. It's just done for you. And speaking from experience, they're pretty nice emails to land in your inbox and receive. In terms of the system, I'll leave it open for now because if any of you have any questions around the system, just let me know. But other than that, I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of PowerPoint slides. Like I said, please use the Q&A if there are any questions at all. So how can you get this analysis for free for 14 days? So you can go to our website, search Prospect CRM or Prospect Soft, it'll come up straight away. We're obviously part of the Access Group, the same company that own Unleashed. So once you see all of this, you're in the right spot, and you can just take out a CRM trial and connect it up to Unleashed in about 2 minutes. You can also go and jump on a Prospect CRM trial from within Unleashed. There is a CRM module on the left-hand side. Click take a free trial. A Prospect trial will be created under your user, and it will connect to Unleashed automatically as well. There's no right way or wrong way of doing it in both of those scenarios. There'll be a link in a follow-up email to kind of fill out a growth scorecard so we can kind of get an idea of what it is your business is looking to achieve and cater said demonstration accordingly. And also, if you do take out a free trial before Friday, the 20th of June, you will get the first 3 months half price as well, should you subscribe within your trial period. If I'm really candid with you, I would just sign up to a free trial straight away. And if you need it extended slightly because we need a little bit more time testing, we can work with you on that. But if you don't sign up straight away, you might become exceptionally busy next week, as we always all do. So it might be sensible to just go ahead and do that right away, as you will then be applicable for the first 3 months half price. Please use the Q&A or the live chat and ask me some questions. Otherwise, have a lovely rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Enjoy the sunshine while it's here.